How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading while the price is going up or down. Over 35 million lost in the atomic wallet attack as exploit investigation continues. So a lot of people are now worried what kind of wallet can I use that's safe. We'll kind of get to how Ledger can be still safe, even though there's a lot of negative opinion about that. Millions of dollars worth of users' cryptocurrencies have reportedly gone missing among users with self-custodial decentralized atomic wallet. A wave of accounts on Twitter said that their accounts were hacked and that they were drained, so this is sparking a lot of concern. They were around for years, so people are saying, hey, they've been around for years and now they're getting hacked, so this is widely concerning. It's not like it's just some new exchange. As of Sunday, they can't confirm how this took place, but there have been some people that have been able to help actually return some. Atomic Wallet claims they don't store any of your private keys or any of your private information, but in 2021 they did fail a security check by a private security firm, and they said that they were insufficiently storing data, so they may have been hacked and some of their data may have been leaked at one of their areas. Maybe they have 2 or more sites that they store their data, and that was hacked. One victim lost nearly 8 million worth of stablecoin Tether, so you might be worried about the multiple locations. We'll get how that's different than the multiple locations that Ledger plans on implementing. It is possible that some funds lost in the Atomic Wallet can be recovered, as ZachXBT did manage to reach out to Buffalo, and they did recover, I believe it was about $1 million. Yeah, they rescued about $1 million worth of funds. So they are trying to recover and track down some of these funds through exchanges. Exchanges are watching, so these funds are being watched, so hopefully they can be recovered, but not always can all funds be recovered at once, because some hackers like to hold on to it for a long time in hopes that people forget about it. So back to Ledger, you might be worried about the back door that people are worried about. Nicholas Baca, the co-founder of Ledger, spoke during Twitter Space with several of the other executives, and he was adamant that there is no backdoor and that they can't access your device and none of this will happen without your consent. What I'm referring to is the private key recovery. They're saying unless you opt in, you will not be, nothing will happen. People are saying, well, the code can still be attacked and there can be a software vulnerability where someone can attack that vector. So they're saying that that's not going to be able to happen, as we'll get to where they say their keys are. They're going to open source everything before they implement this, so it's not going to be, the recover's not going to be launched right away if you haven't heard that from when we previously covered. So this is going to be released later on after they open source all their code. So people are going to want to audit this code to make sure that what's happening is not able to be attacked. Ledger CEO Pascal Gunther told Cointelegraph that the Ledger Recover would launch once the company can open source the code, but he said that it is optional again. They said one of the biggest challenges with cryptocurrency is that it's too complex for most users, especially when you're talking about storing a 24-word password and keeping that safe and secure for many years at a time. So that can be very difficult for your average person. So it is likely we need some sort of feature like this to help with mainstream adoption and help more people start to get into the crypto space. They said that the 3 shards that are created for your private keys are sent to secure channels at 3 different companies with 3 different jurisdictions. So they are not all commingled, they don't talk to each other. They're secured on a hardware security nodes. These are very like how the ledgers are secured. It's the same kind of security protocol, so it's just as secure as the device itself. To restore, users had to go through identity verification at 2 providers, after which 2 shards will be sent back to your device, and then it will be decrypted on your ledger. So these shards are always encrypted. They use a cryptographic encryption, so they use crypto encryption, so they use the technology behind blockchain to encrypt this data and send it to your device. The main attack vector is going to be how these shards reach your device. If they reach your device at the same time, then that key can be exposed. However, if there's some sort of delay where maybe your device holds it or something, you'll kind of have to audit the code, and people that know more about the security aspects are going to have to verify that the security being implemented will still work if you choose to opt in for the service. But even if you don't opt in, your keys will not be exposed. Even Ledger doesn't have access, they don't have a back door. And if you do opt in, they don't have your private keys. It's sent through an encrypted shard to 3 separate locations that don't talk to each other. So onto the charts. Our total market cap, we are getting a rising wedge here. Stochastic is trying to run up. RSI is trying to run up. Momentum's trying to run up. Our VWAP's kind of starting to curl. Our money flow is kind of going flat under the neutral, so our money flow is not really strong. Kind of getting flip-flop signals here with a rising wedge. That's a bearish pattern that could break us back down into this flag, even if we manage to break out through it. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are trying to round here, so that is good for us if we can. We have a bullish engulfing candle that could confirm. If this candle does confirm, then that could help push us forward. We could see some sort of a bottom here. Our stochastic could get a bullish cross. Money flow wants to go bullish. RSI is pointing up. VWAP's heading upwards. Momentum wants to curl up. So we do have some positive signs for a push up. But it could also be a temporary push back to this pattern where we go back up, retest this pattern for a week, and then Bitcoin dominance takes another cooldown. We'll have to kind of see. Over on our futures, stochastic is trying to run up. RSI has gone pretty flat. VWAP's making lower highs and is very weak in the bullish territory. Our money flow is starting to curl away from the neutral zone, and our momentum's starting to curl away as well. So on the daily, we look a little weak here on our futures. We are trying to still push this range. Each time we hit it, we do make it weaker. So we have hit it 3 times. So we could break into it, but we may fall back out of it if we do break into it, especially since we filled all our gaps. We are kind of making a descending We are kind of making a descending channel here, so that could push us higher. So we may get a little temporary boost up with that. We'll have to kind of wait and see. However, with Bitcoin, we are getting a little bit of a rising wedge on our lower time frames within this bear flag. So we have 2 bearish patterns, one on a higher time frame, one on the lower time frames. Stochastic does have a bullish cross, but our RSI is pretty flat here. Our momentum is coming down, but it's trying to get a green dot just under that neutral zone, so we want to push back bullish. We'll have to see if we can flip bullish. Our VWAP is kind of rounding away. Money flow doesn't know where it wants to be, so we're very wishy-washy here on the daily, and we have been pretty much the whole time we've been in this pattern. Over on the 4-hour, our stochastic is trying to run up, but it's making lower highs even though price is making higher highs. So we have a bit of a bearish divergence there. Our momentum's trying to run up. Our money flow is pretty flat here. Stochastic's pretty flat. So we're not really getting much of a push through this range. We do have this long upper shadow candle that shows that buyers tried to push us higher, but they got suppressed. So if this does confirm like this, then the buyers most likely will start to lose momentum, and we could see this pattern break out. If you see on the 2-hour, the pattern's a little, we got 1, 2, that would be our 3rd touch that we rejected basically. So after 3 touches, usually you'll see your move. So we could get a little bit of a bounce to the bottom and then break out. Our stochastic is trying to run up, RSI is trying to run up, momentum's getting a bearish divergence, price is making those higher highs, well, was getting a bearish divergence. Price is still slightly making higher highs though, so we still have a slight bearish divergence as we're making slightly higher highs on price, and our momentum is making lower highs. Our VWAP is making lower highs. Money flow isn't really going too much stronger in the bullish territory. It keeps getting stopped out about this 8 range. So if we curl over and break into the bearish territory, we may start to fall from here. Over on the 1 hour, our momentum is trying to make higher highs. Stochastic is falling down though. RSI is trying to hold its ground, but as the stochastic maintains this momentum, that RSI is likely to follow suit. Our VWAP is pointing down and our money flow is very weak over that bullish zone. So even though we have a bullish trend, it's not really a strong bullish trend. We'll need to see that kind of turn up and move somewhere. Otherwise, a lot of these signals are saying we could be overbought here. Over on graph, we'll get to that triangle. But we are kind of rounding here on the daily. Stochastic is falling, RSI is falling, momentum is falling, money flow is coming out, VWAP is coming out. So the daily, we're looking pretty bearish. Our stochastic looks like we could try to curl, but that could push away as well. Or it could curl, cross, and then just flop right back over. So don't hope too much on that curl for now. Over on the 4 hour, you can see we have a slight triangle. It looks a little worse on the lower time frames. Our RSI is overall sliding. Stochastic's pretty weak. Hasn't really made any new highs lately, making lower highs overall. Our money flow overall is starting to inch out. VWAP is trying to push back into the neutral zone, so we'll have to see if it can go bullish and actually gain some ground. And our momentum is somewhat trying to push up. We'll have to see if it actually curls though. Overall, we are falling though. On the lower time frames, we're not looking too strong. Over on the 2 hour, that's where we have this pattern. Stochastic's trying to run up. RSI is overall still losing here. Our VWAP is in the bullish territory, but it's not really very strong and looking like it could roll over. Our money flow looks like it wants to try and curl up, but overall it's trending bearish. Our momentum does have a double green dot, so that could try to push forward, but if that money flow continues out, then that momentum likely won't push us higher. We could just kind of reset everything and just inch to the top of this pattern and then fall down or get a surprise break up. I'll have to kind of evaluate how everything looks as we go. Stochastic on the 1 hour is getting lower highs and kind of starting to curl here. RSI is starting to round off. VWAP is starting to round off. Our money flow is starting to inch out. Our momentum looks like we are trying to push with a double green dot. But if everything else keeps pushing lower, we are likely to start to round and get a red dot. So just be cautionary of that. Stochastic is running up, RSI is trying to push up, VWAP is trying to run up, momentum's trying to run up, money flow is somewhat wishy-washy. We've gone pretty flat, so the money flow doesn't know where it wants to go, but everything else is trying to point up. Over on the 4 hour, you can see we kind of have a little bit of a cup and a handle. Might try to push, I don't know, kind of wishy-washy. So we might get a surprise break up from that, but we are overall in an up channel too, so we could get a break down from that. We have a bearish divergence on stochastic. RSI is starting to roll over, momentum's starting to roll over, VWAP's getting weaker, money flow's starting to inch out. So I'd lean a little more bearish in this scenario. I may be wrong, but our momentum's starting to kind of taper out here on the 2 hour as well. RSI is starting to point out. Our stochastic looks like we could start to roll over. Stochastic's getting bearish divergences here. Our money flow is starting to round off. VWAP's starting to round off and close to that neutral zone. So the 2 hour is not looking very strong, and we could start to push under here soon. We are kind of making a rounding pattern here as well, so be cautionary of that. On the 1 hour, you can see the kind of up channel a little better here. We We have multiple touches. We have 4 touches to the top, 2 to the bottom. So when we touch again, that'd be our 3rd touch to the bottom, and that'd likely be where we'd break down from. That's why the point here, but we could break a little sooner. Our stochastic is starting to fall. RSI is starting to round off. Momentum's starting to round off, making lower highs. Our stochastic's making lower highs. RSI is making lower highs. So we got bearish divergences on like every indicator. Our momentum has a red dot that could confirm our money flow is coming out. Our VWAP is peaking into the bearish territory. So we are starting to get some bearish momentum here on the 1 hour. We'll have to see if it continues and if that does carry into the higher to medium time frames. Or medium to higher time frames, sorry, said that backwards. Over on XRP, we have a pretty good touch here where we have some candle wicks. We could possibly touch right here, somewhere in this zone. So that would be possibly our max break. We did have that bull flag, so we could push above that as well to around that 60-cent zone. Our stochastic is trying to make a green dot. Our momentum, RSI is trying to point up. Stochastic has a bullish cross. Our money flow is starting to get some lift off here. VWAP is trying to push off the neutral zone. So we are starting to look pretty decent here on XRP. We may get a pretty early breakout on this bull flag. And we've had this flag for quite some time, if you remember. I believe we set it up somewhere back here. Or somewhere in here. So over on the 4 hour, stochastic is running up. Momentum's running up. We do have a red dot though, so be wary of those signs. Our money flow is starting to curl. VWAP's starting to curl. So we have some signs that we could get some cool off, but the last couple times we got on those, they've been some weak candles. But just remember, we did kind of break past 2 major resistance areas. Our momentum is getting another red dot here, or our RSI, is getting another red dot. Our momentum's starting to round though, stochastic's starting to get a bearish break. Our money flow is not really getting too much lift off here. VWAP's starting to test bearish, so we're not looking too strong on the 2 hour, but we could see a little bit of a reversal. Hopefully after a couple candles, maybe we get a little bit of a slide, kind of like here, and then we get some more lift off. We'll kind of to watch. Over on the 1 hour, our momentum is starting to round out. Stochastic's starting to fall down pretty aggressively though, so that's a little bit cause for concern. VWAP is in the bearish territory and starting to break a little more aggressive. And our RSI is starting to point down pretty aggressively, so the 1 hour is looking a little more bearish than bullish, but the money flow is overall maintaining a bullish trend. So we do have the bullish trend on the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 4 hour. The daily does have that too, and we are pushing forward. Weekly still not quite yet, but we could see that flip, and then maybe we get even more of an explosive move. Over on Algo, we do have a little bit of an up channel here on the lower time frames as well. Stochastic's trying to run up, RSI is trying to run up, our VWAP's trying to run up, our money flow is kind of heading up, but overall has a bearish trend. Our momentum wants to come up, but we are kind of looking like we could start to curl out, so just exercise some caution here. And that would be kind of cohesive with this ascending triangle if we do see a red dot, because those are both bearish trends. An ascending wedge is a bearish pattern. Even though it says ascending, it's a little deceiving. Stochastic looks like we could get a bearish cross. RSI is pulling down pretty aggressive. Our momentum looks like we could round out. Money flow, it looks like we could start to round out. VWAP's starting to kind of round here. So the 4 hours looking like we could kind of push down. Kind of getting a bearish engulfing candle here too, so not looking too strong right now. Over on the 2 hour, we're getting a bit of a rounding pattern here. Our stochastic's getting lower highs and could break to the bearish side. RSI is starting to curl, momentum's starting to curl. VWAP is starting to head down and about to test the neutral zone. Our money flow is pretty flat, so the 2 hour doesn't really have much strength. We do still have the bullish trend in our favor though, but like I said, this bullish pattern isn't really our friend, our bullish sounding pattern. Stochastic is falling, RSI is falling, momentum's falling. We have a red dot on momentum, RSI again, a double red dot here, so that's not too good for us. Last time we got that, we did break down pretty hard. That was about the bottom of this pattern. Our money flow is starting to head down, VWAP's breaking bearish. So overall, I'd say watch the 1 hour, and the 1 hour is not looking too strong here. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.